Hi there. Allow me to take you on a walkthrough of our Honeybees Research Unit. So this unit was made keeping the adolescents in mind. Um, I have, uh, I am actually trained to teach Montessori adolescent children using the Montessori principles. So using those principles is how I created this research notebook. So allow me to just walk you through this. So the first, in the beginning, I tell you a little bit about my research experience and then what is research per se. And then there's a short story about a personal honeybee experience of mine. And then we come to the section on etymology and classification, where the student can go through all the how the honeybee is classified into the various a kingdom, phyla, class, order, and family. And then they have to find out which of the bee species are actually honeybees, and then they study deeper into that. And then what insects are they confused with, and how and what are the differences between them. This section, caste and sociality, is very specific to honeybees because they are one of the very few insects that show caste and eusociality characteristics, because they are social, they are a group of social insects, and they have different they have different types of bees present the in the hive itself, because they have different works and different roles to perform in there. And then we deal with the general anatomy, different parts of the honeybees, different parts of the different types of honeybees in a hive. We have the worker bees, the drone bees, the queen bees. And then we deal with their body segments and their limbs, their exoskeleton, their wings, then how they fly, and what are the different, how the wing positions that vary with the flight that also the student would study. We study about the sensory systems, hearing, sight, smell, taste, touch, and feeling. Study about the respiratory system, and we also see the effects of pollution on the respiratory system, the circulatory system, and the nervous system, and the digestive system. So these were basically about the different body systems. Now, reproductive system, I'll tell you later. Then you deal with the nutrition. What does the bee have? And there's an activity on constructing your own bee feeder. Then we come to the reproductive system, because honeybees have a reproductive mechanism that is a little bit different, because no bee is born classified. They get classified into their different castes only through what they are fed. So that's an interesting thing to note. Then their life cycle, and then what diseases can plague them. I'm sorry about that. And how do they die? I'm not an evolutionist per se, because I believe in the Bible, but it is important for every student to know it from both perspectives. So, to know from no honeybees, or for that matter, any life form, from the evolutionary perspective, and also from the creation perspective, because there are people who believe in creation. Then we come to the global distribution of honeybees, and what different languages have different names for honeybees. So that's a good exploration they can be sent on to. Then we deal with their habitat and the survival in the different seasons, and how global warming has affected them, how pollution has affected them, about their migration characteristics and stuff like that. And then we deal with the honeycomb and the bee nests, the construction, and there's a lot of engineering design that goes into this. So there's an activity on constructing a honeycomb structure and seeing how much weight it can bear. Sorry for that again, that's my work email. And then we come to honeybee sting and venom. And honeybees, though they have the same sting, they sting different people in the same way, but then different people develop different reactions to them. And the students learn about that. and then how they learn and communicate, because if they're a social group of if they're a social creature, then they have to learn to communicate among each other, and how pheromones play a role in that. So that's a big section. And then connected to that is an activity on the waggle dance. And then we come to beekeeping or apiculture. So this section can actually prepare you for keeping bees on your own. So yeah, we have that many questions being dealt with here. And then how to be a beekeeper, if there's any training you can take, and where you can study and things like that. And then we come to honeybee products. First, honey and the characteristics of honey. So we have an activity on the viscosity change of honey with heat. And then, yeah, that's a long section on honey. And then we also make a cold relief tea. This is something I have personally used ever since I was a child. So this is a recipe that's very familiar to me. And then we come to royal jelly and its use and why it's produced and stuff like that. Then bee bread, you create a mock bee bread, and then beeswax and how beeswax compares with paraffin. And then you make your own beeswax candle. And then another bee product that we deal with is propolis. And then we look into what role honeybees have played in history. And this is a 2-page spread where you can, record how they have interacted with humans. So basically that. And then who are the famous researchers who researched on honeybees? And then again, the research timeline, when, what thing we discovered about honeybees. You can track that on this 2-page timeline. So you'll see that most of our pages, several of our pages are actually 2 pages spread. So you'll have to be careful when you print this, and then how we use honeybees, what harm can they cause, how they are represented in our human documents. So, in movies and stories, in poems and mythology, in folklore and religious texts, and business assets, coins, currencies, different ways here. And then how they've inspired people. So basically this section deals with biomimetics. And then you can develop your own business based on your study on honeybees. So this is the section where you develop your business. And then you can record interesting facts and myths about honeybees. I don't know how the section came here. This should have gone for ahead. So you observe honeybees around you and you record their activity and their behavior along with the weather and the time of the day. Then you conduct an expert interview. You can conduct this interview with different kinds of people. You can conduct an interview with the beekeeper or someone from the honey industry, an environmentalist, to check the effect of the different environmental conditions on honeybees. And then you think about, this is a pretty reflective section on honeybee and me. And then you make a poster. You can do any of these or none of these or all of these. It's totally dependent on you. You write your story, you can write your poem, you can write a blog post, a coffee table book. And then we come to, you can write your own research paper. Please note that research paper is not equal to research. So, this is a very specific, research paper is a very specific type of research document, and not everybody can write it. It is a good thing for everybody to develop it, not everybody can write it. And then you come to presentation, how you present your, so there's space for 20 slides. So yeah, how you present your research, what would you say, when would you say, and what would you put up on your slides. So these are basically the slides planner pages. And then how would you cite your sources of information. And then at the end, we talk about what experience you underwent while studying honeybees, and then how you would further like to study this topic. And once you're done with your research, you can send your filled in notebook, the PDF copy of it, and we will send you a certificate of completion, and we will critique your performance, your research performance, so that you can know where you can improve and where you did well. And yeah, basically that. So you'll get a certificate along with your performance record. So that is about it. If you have any more questions, you can send it to me in the chat here, uh, or you could write to me at the email ID that is there under the certificate here. You can see it. So one thing that people often ask is how much time will this take to complete? This is a huge resource. And researching, if you look at it in an objective point of view, researching never ends. So you can take as much time as you want with this unit or as little time as you want with this unit. It is entirely up to the children you're dealing with, the adolescents you're dealing with. You can span this across 3 months, or you could even span this across 1 year. And you must also understand that on some days, children are totally in the mood to research and they will be able to research several questions. And on some days, they will not like to research anything. And in both cases, it is okay. Things are better done when they do it out of their own volition rather than when forced. So this is one issue I wanted to address. So there it was, a walkthrough through the Honeybee Research Unit. Thank you.